Okay, now how would we use tangent to find the measure of an angle? The beginning process is very similar, and so if we're looking for angle S, we can use a tangent ratio, a proportion with tangent in it, to figure this out. So we know that the tangent of S, and S is what we're looking for, is equal to the opposite leg divided by the adjacent leg. All right. Now, in math, all right, in algebra, you learned something about inverses. All right, inverse in math is to kind of reverse the domain and range. So if you plug an angle into tangent to get a ratio, then every function has an inverse. So that means tangent inverse, if you plug in a ratio, you get an angle. So what we're going to do on the calculator is, instead of using tangent, we're going to use the tangent inverse button. And any calculator that has tangent should have a tangent inverse button. So with tangent inverse, we're going to plug in the ratio, and it'll give us the angle. All right, so now I'm going to open up the calculator, type this in, and that'll tell us what angle S is. Alright, so in the T-Inspire, if you hit trig, right below tangent should be tan -1. That's tan inverse, alright? Now, because 32 is an angle, right, you plug angles into tangent to get a ratio. Now with the inverse, I have to plug the ratio in to get the angle. Now just a quick flashback to the last question. Notice how if I type in that ratio, it gives me the angle 32 degrees. See how these two just flip-flopped? Alright, so now if I do the tangent for this question that we were started on, if I do the tangent inverse of, what was it, 28 over, I forgot what it was, 28 over 45. Alright, if you have to hit Control Enter because it's going to give you an exact answer. Alright, we get 31.8. Now let's look and see if that makes sense. Alright, well, can this angle here be 31.8? Yeah, definitely. This is kind of like a special right triangle. Notice how the hypotenuse is almost double the short leg. Alright, so it makes sense that this angle is around 30 degrees. It would make this angle around 60 degrees, which makes sense because 45 is bigger than 28. Alright, and those are the type of things you should be looking at to make sure that you did it right. Alright, and then something like this where it says just find the tangent and of an angle. Alright, you don't actually have to use the calculator. You could just write a ratio. So the tangent of J would be the opposite leg divided by the adjacent leg, and then the tangent of K would be the leg opposite of K, 32, divided by 24. So when it asks you to write the tangent of something, your answer is a ratio. But if it asks you to actually find the measure of an angle, then that's when you would do the tangent inverse of that ratio, and it would give you the angle measure in degrees.